My role is to create an environment, take care of my contractors. We're creating a community of business owners that can stand shoulder to shoulder and help each other. There's camaraderie in our industry. I already know from the PHCC, I can't see into the future, but I know that you're a lifelong friend. I know that some other people are lifelong friends now. I don't have lifelong friends with everybody in our association and vice versa, right? So when we have something working on, focused together, nobody's an island. So we're creating a community of businesses. And then when it comes to our associates and affiliates, those people we're bringing into our community and they say, okay, yeah, you're local. I want to keep that all in Washington State if possible. You're local, you provide a service to our members, our contractor members. Let's continue to build that community and expand it.
What's new at the show that inspires you to take home to Washington?
It's the relationships. It's the conversations that happen. It's a give and take. What I'm good at, you might not be good at, but what you're good at, I'm probably not good at. Let's complement each other.
Absolutely. Help each other out. This year's Connect show, put on by PHCC, the Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Contractors of America, was a total blast. We met and caught up with so many great people from our industry. What an honor to have some of them on Behind the Windshield with Dennis the Apprentice, where we learned a bit more about them, where they came from, how they got into our industry, and some of the innovative things they're doing to make our industry the place to be. One thing special about this show is that it hosts the PHCC National Apprentice Contest, so there were a lot of great apprentices in attendance. I wish you could have been there yourself, and maybe the next best thing is getting to know a bit more about our next guest. Todd, welcome to Behind the Windshield with Dennis the Apprentice at the PHCC National Convention.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, we're a long ways from home, Todd.
We are.
Clear across the country.
Almost.
Yeah, we're in the eastern. I can tell in the mornings I'm a long ways from home.
Yeah, it was beautiful this morning.
It was gorgeous. Have you seen when we flew in, the leaves and stuff? Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
The fall.
Yeah. So, you're here with a new position as
I am.
Our executive director from Washington.
Yes, sir.
So you went to a meeting yesterday. Was it yesterday with the executive directors?
Yeah. It was an impromptu meeting yesterday, and then I have one here shortly. That's our annual business meeting.
Oh, perfect. So you haven't had it yet?
Not the business meeting.
Okay. I was going to ask you about what the executive director meeting was like.
The meeting yesterday was impromptu.
Okay.
And it's basically this year, the Association of Executives Council chose to be a standalone entity away from National. So that organization essentially seceded from National on October 3rd with a vote. By Jan 1 of this year, Jan 1, 2024, will be a standalone entity.
Interesting. And what's the benefits of that?
The benefits of that is having more control and, frankly, having more control over our own destiny, having more the power to choose, and some other things. I will probably refrain from answering any more questions about that because it gets into some drama that I'm not real familiar with, and I'm kind of in a position where I'm drinking from a fire hose on it.
Right. But that's what happened.
It is what happened.
Yeah. Very cool. So executive directors, every state has an executive director.
Every chapter.
Every chapter does.
And
some states have more than one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the executive director, for people that don't know much about PCC, is kind of, you're our only paid employee, really.
Well,
in this state.
Yeah, in our state.
In our state.
That's going to change.
Yeah.
We do have money in our budget for a virtual assistant. If I didn't have a virtual assistant, I'd probably have someone I'm paying.
Right. Or a heart attack.
Yeah, or a heart attack. We don't want that.
No, we do not
attacks.
want that. No.
Some states have more staff. My job is my role is to create an environment, take care of my contractors, create an environment we're creating a community. We're creating a community of business owners that can stand shoulder to shoulder, help each other. There was a guy named Shoeless Joe Jackson. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
So he was a baseball player back in like the 1920s, and he was associated with what was called the Chicago Black Sox.
Okay.
Do you know about that?
No.
The Chicago Black Sox were the White Sox, but that year they went to the World Series and they got caught cheating, so they got labeled the Black Sox.
Okay.
He was a member of that team. He has the third highest batting on-base percentage in all of baseball history, Shoeless Joe. But because of that, event with the Black Sox, no one knows. Here's what he said, and when they did the biography of him, here's what the author said, that Shoeless Joe Jackson said, except for the short bursts of camaraderie, which came like thunderstorms, we were never close.
Wow.
So there's camaraderie in our industry.
Yes.
I don't have to be your best friend. You don't have to be my best friend. If that relationship develops out of that, great.
Right.
Like you and I have become friends.
Absolutely.
I have some I already know from the PHCC, I can't see into the future, but I know that you're a lifelong friend. I know that some other people are lifelong friends now.
Right.
So, but I don't have lifelong friends with everybody in our association and vice versa, right? So, but when we have something working on, focused together, nobody's an island. So we're creating a community of businesses. And then when it comes to our associates and affiliates, those people we're bringing into our community, and they say, okay, yeah, you're local. I want to keep that all in Washington State if possible. You're local. You provide a service to our members, our contractor members. Let's continue to build that community and expand it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like so many businesses, and I've been there before too, where when I started out, I didn't reach out much because I was trying to figure out what I was doing.
Yep.
And
felt like you had to keep your cards close to your chest.
Cards close. I felt like I was in competition. I didn't want to share any secrets. Yep. And I grew out of that eventually. It took me longer than I wish. If I could do it over, I would not have that at all. But in social media, those of us that do social media, the way you grow is I just had the lady plumber on, who's way bigger than me as far as followers and all that. Oh. But she's glad to visit and share. We share interesting things back and forth, and it helps us both out. But in social media, if you're an influencer, I'm not really an influencer, but the influencers really help each other out. They're not in competition, but they understand that if they help each other out and collaborate, it helps everybody out. And I feel like contractors have a hard time learning that, but it's true for contractors as well.
So that's interesting. If I was to use the analogy of the island, and each of us is a ship, the islands, as the water rises together, all the ships rise and the islands sink.
Yes. Don't be an island.
Don't be an island.
My goodness, yes. And especially in tough times, and tough times come like thunderstorms. They come out of nowhere. We might be we might be in a tough time now, actually.
There's no question about that. We are.
Yeah. And so do you want to be alone, or do you want to have buddies you can bounce stuff off of or help out or get help from, right?
Hey, there was a guy that I know really well in the Washington State PHCC, and this gentleman knew that in order for me to do some of the things and go execute some of the vision I have for the industry, that I needed a plumber. And he was like, hey, man, I've been talking to this guy, because I shared with him. He said, hey, I've been talking to this guy, and I want you to talk to him. Here's his contact info.
Yeah.
To try and pass. And, that guy could have easily employed that person, probably needed him, but he passed the name to me.
Yeah.
Happens to be you. Thank
That's
you.
It. You're welcome.
But that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about.
100%.
Steve Egner. It was Steve's Plumbing up in Linwood.
Yes.
A couple years ago, Todd, I got a guy in your area, might need a ProPress machine, blah, blah, blah. Steve, tell me where he's at. We'll take it to him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Happened to me. There was a time when I had 3 sewer jobs open, and they all got red tagged. Like all of a sudden I couldn't get the permit. Like, what's going on? Somehow they stopped our side sewer license because of some technicality. I was like, what are you talking about? We've been that for years, right? But while I was figuring that out with the city, I called around, and it was another PHCC member that let me use his license to pull those 3 permits and pass those inspections and backfill. And then I got back. But without him, I would have been in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
And at first he said no, but then he called me back within 10 minutes and helped me out. And
he's got risk in it. There's risk.
That was a big deal.
I mean, I've had contractors call me and go, hey man, that's plumbing contractor reg, blah, blah, blah. I need a permit. Can you pull a permit for me?
Yeah.
Are you hiring us to do the work? No. Let me think on that for a minute.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
It is hard. Yeah.
But
luckily we had a good reputation and all that, but
right.
He was a PHCC member, but I'll never forget that. And
that's cool.
It meant a lot. But without PHCC, we wouldn't have known each other.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's why it's important.
Yeah.
Our association is very, very important for creating the community that we're creating.
Yeah.
And we can't, once we have the community, now we have the camaraderie and the unity and oneness that's needed to be able to expand, scale, grow, provide benefits, and create more community,
Right.
and wrap around more people.
Right. So at the show, what's new at the show? What have you got from it inspires you to take home to Washington?
The answer to that question for me has nothing to do with this trade show. Has everything to do with the connections I'm making with the AEC and the leaders there, other leaders in the association, seeing some of the people that are boots on the ground in other states. It's the relationships. It's not any member, any booth.
Yeah, relationships, and it's what happens after the show, right?
Yeah.
There's so much that happens after the show.
Yep. That's
And,
when, This the conversations that happen when you're away from. It's the one-on-ones, and
Yeah.
really the best ones are after everything's done and you go to the tavern and you sit down, and those are
What's
the
real?
best.
What's
That's
real?
what's real.
Yeah.
Because then people let their hair down. They let themselves be vulnerable, and then you can either be built into your life or build into someone else's life.
Right.
It's a give and take.
Right.
What I'm good at, you might not be good at, but what you're good at, I'm probably not good at.
Yeah.
Let's complement each other.
Absolutely. Help each other out. Very cool.
In some places, that's called a body.
Yes. I know what that's.
Yeah.
We all work together for the good, for the common good.
Mhm. Yep. That finger can't bend unless the shoulder,
Right.
the blood's flowing, and the brain's working.
And without that little finger, we're so much different than with it, right?
Yeah.
Less useful, less healthy, and we'll miss it forever. So we all work together.
And that brain, or your blood even. Blood's not going, man, I wish I was that finger.
No, we all got a part.
Yeah, we all have a part.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're doing yours for sure.
Yeah. Thanks. You too, Dennis. I'm glad you're doing yours.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on.
Yes, sir.
So that's a wrap. I hope you're inspired to make it to a trade show near you, or even put the 2024 PHCC Connect show in Birmingham, Alabama, October 7 through 10 on your calendar. If you can't make it, but want to stay up to date on what's going on at the shows, like and subscribe, and I'll do my best to bring the shows to you.